Sup nerds, I'm Wes.
I'm Tom.
And I'm Aaron.
We're Nevermore Gaming, and we are so excited to talk to you guys about Star Wars Outer Rim from Fantasy Flight Games.
I'm kind of excited.
We are so excited.
A little bit. It's like that, like this.
Outer Rim is a sandboxy pick up and deliver Star Wars themed bonanza. You're just gonna be flying through outer space, through all these planets that you've known through, the Star Wars universe, picking up bounties, picking up cargo, getting crew, upgrading your ship, and every time you're picking up, a bounty or cargo, you have another place you need to deliver it. So you need to fly across the universe to another planet and deliver it. There's a lot of skill checks where you're rolling dice and you're combating here and there, and it's awesome.
There is an awful lot of randomness in the game. Like with what he was just talking about, there's decks of cards that you'll be pulling out your bounties or your jobs or the cargo that will tell you where they go. Sometimes they're across on the other side of the universe. Or
It's a U shape.
sorry, let's for a second. It's shaped like a. But sometimes the planet's like right there, and you cannot pick up a card if it says to deliver to the planet that you're already on, but it could be like one step away. And then, like you said, there's a lot of checks. A lot of the jobs are like, just test this, and if you fail, this happens. If you don't, this happens. So there is a decent amount of randomness, but obviously to combat that, there's an awful lot of things that you can do to mitigate your luck. Not even just like you have starting powers, you're like, okay, you can mitigate your luck a little bit, but once you get a couple jobs, a couple cards under your belt, then you can really start affecting all of the chance and probability that you have and really make meatier decisions, if that makes sense.
And I will say that with the skill checks and the combat, they take a lot of the clunkiness away because there's not like defense in combat. It's like both sides roll, both sides do damage, and then whoever did the most damage wins it. Or in a skill check, like, there's not a whole lot of modifiers. There's, like, depending on how skilled you are in that area, like, different dice rolls will be a success, and the more skilled you are, the more chance you have to succeed. Mm-hmm. But it is very, almost, like, clean with the mechanics of the game. And again, it's sandboxy, so it's not, like, super straightforward because there's just so much you could do. You go and you get this job, and you're hired to do this job, and then you're like, oh, I did it, and it was hard, and so I'm just going to ditch this job and get a new job, or now I'm going to go try to deliver this cargo, or now I'm going to go fight these ships over here, which is the beauty of Sandbox, is that it's really like whatever you want to do is you're open to.
One thing I was thinking about with this game is it feels like a competitive version of like an Arkham or Eldritch Horror with the pick up and deliver aspect mixed in. Now, I haven't played the 3rd edition of Arkham Horror, but just the idea that you go to a place, you have an encounter, and it means you read a card, and it's like some kind of conditions. It's a skill test you have to check, or it's
or
like
a series of skill checks,
or a
as
series
a story
like a long
progresses.
story, yeah. Or you have to lose you have to make tough choices about like, oh, do I want to lose reputation in this faction in order to get this better special ability, or ooh, this guy says if I dump this money right now, I can get a point. Maybe I do want to get that right now. There's an awful lot of, again, random, but like story-related things that as you're moving along and trying to gain points and do the things that the game wants you to do, the narrative also kind of pushes you towards doing other things as well.
Speaking of story, this game has just tons of Star Wars fan service in it. I mean, if you're a big fan of Star Wars, one, so much is just going to be familiar. Like, I love the way the credits are with the money and like all the characters. It's set like just before Rogue One because you can get like Jyn Erso and K2SO is in there, but you also have like Lando and Han, and you have the Boba Fett's, the bounty hunters like Boba Fett and IG-88, and just a ton of characters that are just easily recognizable to Star Wars fans.
A ton of ships,
and like I with Disney, I can't keep up with what's exactly canon, but there is a lot of stuff that I recognize from the expanded universe. Like, you can buy the Moldy Crow if you want to. You can buy the IG-2000. You can, of course, buy the Millennium Falcon or Slave One. And like, so many things like that, you just feel so cool. Like, especially if you're like, all right, I'm playing this Boba Fett, and I found some Mandalorian armor, and I found a jetpack, and now I was able to buy Slave One, and let's do this. Like, I don't know. If you're a big Star Wars nerd like I am and these guys kind of are, then this
Dabble.
like you're gonna be just thrilled with the lore of this game.
I do want to one caveat to that. He said you feel really cool. I don't think cool is the right word.
Even at the jobs you do, because there is like some narrative to them, and so like that you can go on the Kessel Run, and it's like verbatim watching Rogue One. It's like, okay, you touch down, and now you have to go and like
Solo. Didn't do the Kessel Run in Rogue One.
You're right, you didn't Solo.
I thought you were the
Disney
Star
movies.
Wars fan.
So we're going to talk about the biggest deck out there. The encounter deck. When a lot of the things that you encounter, so if it's a job, it'll say, refer to this card. It'll be in the encounter deck. If you want to encounter the different people that are out on the board, if you want to just like, hey, let's see who this person is.
Well, I mean, you also, a lot of your bounties, you're trying to find them. So you're trying to find this one person. Yeah. So like you tap somebody on the shoulder and they turn around and it's not the person you wanted, but you're like, hey, let's see what happens.
So then you go to the encounter deck and it'll tell you like, do you need to fight this person? Do you need to give them money? Like there's all kinds of different encounters, and there's this huge deck that supplies that, and it has all that story to have you do skill checks and things. Speaking of skill checks and rolling dice, you do that a lot in this game, and it's fun.
Doo-doo.
We're adults.
Like they were saying, they're straightforward. You're just rolling 2 dice, and if you do not have that skill listed on your personal pilot or any of your crew, then you're gonna have to get a critical hit. If you have that skill on one of them at least, then all you have to get is a regular hit. Or if you have 2 of it, then you just need the eye. So like it's really simple and straightforward, but you don't get any rerolls. So it's like you want to try.
Unless you're Lando. Lando gets to reroll.
Or Jin Urso, she gets to flip an eye to a critic.
So like there's definitely pilots out there that'll help you, or if you get the right crew, they can help you, or you need to just get a bunch of crews so that you have all of the different skills so that you can like pass every skill set.
And there is, like, the different pilots definitely do, like, pseudo push you towards a strategy. Mm-hmm. Like, the bounty hunter characters, one, they start with a bounty already there, so you have a starting direction, but they're a little bit stronger for, like, fighting people and capturing those bounties, where, like, Lando is really good at smuggling, so he gets to reroll on all his checks, so that when he's delivering illegal goods, it's a little bit easier for him to do that.
I played as Han, and I start out with cargo, but I can go farther when I
fastest
fly.
ship in the verse.
Yeah, so I could fly further and easier across and deliver things quicker.
There's once per ship combat, you may reroll any number of your blank dice. So there are things
other
that
modifiers.
Yeah.
You get the mods for your ship or the gear for your actual pilot, so that you can get better. But it takes time and money.
It does, and looking through, you're somewhat accurate in that rerolls really aren't that common.
Yeah,
I'm looking through. There aren't. I mean, granted, I'm just right now flipping through. I haven't studied every single card extensively, but it doesn't look like rerolls are a super common thing.
Yeah.
And as far as upgrades and mods go, you do have, like, not only do you have your jobs and your cargo to deliver and your bounties and all that stuff going on, but your character also has a specific goal. And then once you buy a new ship, all the ships you can buy also have a goal. Mm-hmm. And when you complete those goals, it lets you flip them over, and your characters just get a little bit stronger, and your ships actually become named. So instead of just flying a generic YT-1300, you are now flying the Millennium Falcon. Instead of flying a Fire Spray, you're flying the Slave One, which not only just makes you feel super cool, again, you just feel like leather jacket, sunglasses, moped,
lightsaber.
But, like, your character gets that much better in the game. Which is part of why I kind of think this could make a decent legacy game with a little bit of tweaking. Because, like, you buy a ship and you can actually name your ship. And you hire a crew and you go along. And
the only reason why I disagree with that is I just don't want legacy games anymore. I think I'm just over them. But anywho, what this game definitely could use, and it's probably going to get at least 1 or 5... is expansions. Mm-hmm. Now, it's definitely not to say that I feel like out of the box it's missing something. I definitely don't think that. But it's just a game that's very obvious as you're looking at it. Like, ooh, there is design space potential here. Mm-hmm. But they obviously, of course, they could just add a bunch more cards to every single deck. Just increase the number of encounters as they do with Eldritch and Arkham Horror. Right. But also...
you can add little, like, plates that click in to add more planets, or
Mhm,
even
yeah.
like an inner ring of
Make a
planets.
full-
Yeah, or you can make it a circle, right?
Yeah.
And then these things kind of like another end, or not. These
A
are ends.
midpoint.
This is like the middle. This becomes like a connecting middle thing. So it's a
Yeah.
big circle.
It's a
Like,
hyperspace lane.
you're right.
put
Yeah,
across the
there's a
middle.
lot of things that there is a. Oh yeah, that would be good to make it. Even if they didn't want to add more planets, but to add a kind of a bridge thing, like you jump to hyperspeed, light speed here, and
Well, it'd be
you
a
take
wormhole,
damage.
because all this is light speed. Planets are not close. You have to have a wormhole.
I hate him so much. I hate him. I hate him. I hate him.
That does bring us to an interesting point, though, and it's one of the complaints I've seen from some of the other people who have talked about this game already, is that once you've played like 3 to 5 games, you already know everything. Like you've been through this encounter deck, you've been through all these decks, and so you
5
kind of
games, really?
I mean, the games are pretty long.
That's true. Well, I guess maybe
If
you
you're playing-
personally, but you have seen everything. Like,
yeah.
you've
If
seen
you
other
play
players
with the
flip up.
same group every time,
But even then, like if you're really watching, you see what Aaron does when he flips up his card and says, "This is what I'm doing."
yeah,
Okay.
You're like, oh, I know fighting that guy is gonna get me this, so maybe I'm not gonna try and encounter
Right. So
that
they
guy.
could completely replace all of that whole deck instead of so this guy flips up, says to get card 6, you get card number 6. A lot of the times, like card number 1, there's 4 copies of card number 1. A lot of them are just one single copy, so they
Yeah.
could
Multiple
double
copies.
all of those. Yeah.
But so the question I'm asking though is this game out of the box worth it?
Yes.
Like, is it like, oh, well, you're going to play it 3 times and then be tired of it, wait till expansions come out or something? Or is it something that's going to be like, no, definitely pick it up?
I think I already answered that. Okay, I understand what you're saying. I understand the problem with that, but that is the draw of this game the mystery, or is it the strategy and the stories that come out and the interesting decisions and the different ways you get to take your characters, the different characters you get to try? Just the fact that even if you flip up a card and say, "Oh, I've seen this before,"
Yeah.
doesn't mean that all of the
Yeah.
the fun is
do
gone.
you have the right crew? Are you gonna actually
Yeah.
pass your skill
Yeah.
checks this time?
And there is, the mystery is a fun thing. Like, when you're playing this game, like, oh, I found this person, or like that kind of stuff is cool, but like, I definitely think that this is awesome and worth it, and
It's like he had somewhere to go with that thought, and then it just kind of went,
it's good. Just do it. Buy it.
Hey, if you have X-Wing, you have more extra dice to play with already.
That's true. They are the exact same type of dice, which 3 years ago, Tom would be like, "Oh, that's so cheap." But now I'm like, "Oh, awesome, perfect. That just means that you have extra die." Because also I have Dungeons and Dragons attack wing, and I'm pretty certain that's the same dice too.
Nice.
So then, yeah, you have all these extra dice that
Which,
you don't
like,
have to pass around.
You don't necessarily need a dice pack in this game. I did have some combats where it was like 5 attack for 6 attack, and it comes with 6 dice.
But the fact that they're different color,
Yep.
so that way it
Yeah.
can be your dice and enemy dice, and you see the different color, and you're like, "Oh, there we go."
Outer Rim is one of those games that's fun because there isn't like an exact thing you have to do to win. Like, you do need to get the fame to win, but how you get it is going to be different kind of every game. I mean, you're doing the same things. You're delivering, you're picking up, you're doing jobs. It's always going to be different because, you have these guys that are flying around. What are these guys? They get in your way.
Patrols.
The patrols get in your way. You're not going to always encounter the same cards because, you have to shuffle through them to try and find, if you're trying to find a certain card. But, I mean, depending on where you are, if you're over here and you're like, okay, I'm going to pick up this card and I get to deliver it over there, and now this other job comes up, I'm like, well, I don't want that one now because I don't want to fly all the way back to the other side. So you're going to have a different experience every time. It's a lot of fun, upgrading your ships and getting the gear. Like, I really enjoy it.
Coming from someone who isn't a huge Star Wars fan. Now, I like Star Wars. I think the original trilogy is classic. I liked the prequels when I was a kid. I'm mostly on board with the Disney stuff nowadays, I still go see the new movies, I actually liked Last Jedi more than most people. But anyways, coming from somebody who isn't like a die-hard Star Wars fan, I still really had a lot of good time with it because, again, even though the theme isn't my thing, making those stories, it felt really immersive. It felt like I was getting into the story. I'm like, ooh, I did this. Oh, I'm really good at that. Oh, it makes sense that Jin's thing is she's trying to, put damage on Imperial planets. And, it was I don't know. I felt like it flowed really well. It was surprisingly easy to get a hang of. After like the first turn, I'm like, oh, okay. It's just do this, do this, do this. Like there's a lot of options, but it's like this step, this step, this step, this step, and there we go. My biggest negatives would probably be the randomness and the potential lack of replayability that he brought up about, once you've seen it, you've seen it. But again, I don't even think those are really like my negatives. They're more just like what I see as, okay, somebody could really dislike the randomness. I get that. All the dice rolling, all the cards, somebody could really dislike that. Somebody could maybe dislike the idea that, after about 6 games, I've seen every single card and nothing's new and fresh. But I don't think either of those would tear me away from this game at all.
This game checks so many boxes for me. Like, first off, it's Star Wars. I absolutely love Star Wars. And so, I was already excited about a new Star Wars game from Fantasy Flight Game. It's not just another expansion to a game they've had out for a while or another, miniatures combat-ish game. And then also Sandbox. I absolutely love Sandbox games. I love the idea that, I can do whatever I want and I can pick my own strategy. I really like delivering cargo in this game, which is not something that I feel like I would think I would like, because there's, bounties you can do and jobs you can do and just all this fun stuff. I like delivering cargo around. But with that, it's really good to get, cargo and jobs that go hand in hand. Mm-hmm. Okay, well, I've got this thing that I need to deliver to Kessel, but also this job freeing the Wookiee slaves on Kessel. If I can get both those at the same time, then going to Kessel becomes that much more worth it. Or flying across the board, well, I can schedule some stops along the way, or maybe I have a job over there to do, or I want to go over there to buy a ship anyway. Just all of that, I don't know, just the sandboxiness is amazing. I think that this game is a little bit more Firefly than it is Western Legends in terms of sandbox, because I think Western Legends encourages a lot more player interaction. Mm-hmm. This game definitely has it.
Deals.
You can make deals with people. You can trade cards. There are definitely cards that like you had the one card that you wanted to go with someone else and discard it, and you both gained money.
It was like a jewel.
Is that right there?
Oh, right there, yeah. Choose another player in your space, discard this card. You both gain 7,000 credits and 1 fame.
So you have to choose somebody to be friends with. Mm-hmm. I had one that I wanted to go and smear someone's reputation, so I needed to go attack someone else. And if they had more fame than me, I could gain 2 fame. And if they had less fame, I could gain 1 fame. So there's definitely things like that encourage player interaction, which is part of why playing with 4 players is better than playing with 2 players or solo. But yeah, I can't recommend this game enough. If you like sandboxy games, if you like Star Wars, if you're breathing, I definitely recommend that you check out this game.
So if this game sounds fun to you, we'll have a link in the description box down below where you can get yourself a copy.
While you're down there, make sure you subscribe to our channel so you'll never be bored.
Oh yeah, no lightsabers. That's another negative. No lightsabers.
Outer Rim is one of those games that is just so much fun going around exploring, and you don't have a definite goal. Your definite goal is to get a bunch of is it influence?
Fame.
I'll start over. So Outer Rim